Next, I'd like to introduce our next storyteller, Hanan Awaad. Hanan has a bachelor degree in mechanical engineering, a master's in planning, and is a certified project manager. She's the president and founder of Corporita Incorporated, a Canadian business and management training consultant and communications firm based in the Waterloo region. Hanan is also the editor-in-chief of Corporita magazine, an online magazine dedicated to working women. She is also a show host on Canada We Radio and Corporita TV, and had guest appearances on many other shows. After immigrating to Canada with her family in 2009, Hanan worked as an organizational development consultant at the region of Waterloo, a graduate teaching assistant at the University of Waterloo, and director of operations at Leximondo Communications. In addition to these notable accomplishments, she co-founded the Canadian Council for the Dissemination of Science and Culture with an exceptional vision and entrepreneurial drive. She also founded Corporita Incorporated and Corporita Academy. Hanan holds a Bachelor of Science in Mechanical Engineering, as mentioned, and her Master's is from the University of Liverpool, UK, and her second Master's is from the University of Waterloo. Hanan is actively involved with the community and believes firmly in volunteering and regularly gives her time to the community. She enjoys writing about leadership, communication, and business. Please welcome Hanan.
I have my handwritten notes. Who does this? I remember her, tall, tanned, and her face and hands were covered with deep, deep, deep wrinkles. I was only 12 when she passed away. She was 90 at that time. Her name was Nafusa, and she used to work in my father's family house when he was young. She was very aggressive, demanding, and my mom never loved her. But my father valued her so much. He even gave her an open invitation to drop by the house anytime and eat whatever she wants. My father later told me her story. Because she couldn't bear a child, her husband kicked her away, out of the house. She was very young at that age. She was 14. And suddenly, she found herself alone, poor, and homeless. But she was very, very strong woman, physically and emotionally. She worked in a store, using her body strength to lift heavy things and clean. And one day, the store owner harassed her. Very angry, Nafusa head-butted him. Covered in his blood and embarrassment, again, he kicked her out. For me, Nafusa symbolizes the notion of a working woman in so many places around the world. Many women woke up in the morning and ask themselves, whom I'm going to headbutt today? With the ever-popularized advice to lean in one hand, and the stories we heard about those strong women who fought for our rights on the other hand. Women like me are trying every day to figure out things on their own. While the roles of sexes are highly researched throughout the history, we still need to understand how those roles evolved, how our brain wiring, biological and psychological differences play a role in how we carry ourselves. When I was a young girl growing up in Egypt, which is a predominantly sexist society. I was bombarded with contradicting messages all the time. My mom, I love my sweet mom. She wanted me, the girly girl that should love to clean and cook and do some needlework. And she forced me to give up my sports to study a few extra hours a day. And my father, who loved my tomboy nature, yet resented it. And the religious scholars on the TV and at the private halakas or circles that my father hosted in our house explained to me and the other women and other girls over and over and over why my brain and my religion and my body are incomplete. Yes. One of the reasons is the 5 or 7 days in the month when we get the thing. The second most famous explanation is because women are too emotional and soft, and they lack the sound judgment. Everyone around me had an opinion and a say on what should I wear, when should I speak and what to say, what to do, and even how should I feel. Spending the majority of my life in girls-only private schools, interacting with boys was like sailing in turbulent waters. I sometimes wonder how I survived. And even many years after, I insisted to join mechanical engineering and be the only girl among a class of more than 90 boys. Not even this, surviving the verbal and mental and emotional abuse of peers and some naughty professors. Later, of course, I worked in male-dominated jobs. I'm a mechanical engineer. So every day was like walking barefoot on thin ice. If I get harassed, should I speak up or suck it up? In a meeting, should I ask and risk being labeled as incompetent or shut up? I hated to be always reminded how weak I was. After all, I'm a girl. And at the same time, no one acknowledged my 2 hours morning commute to work, my 8 hours shift in the shop floor, and my 2 hours evening commute back home. I was always confused when I was assertive and speaking up my mind. And I got labeled all sorts of ugly labels. At the same time, my colleague, who happened to be a man, did the same, and he is the boy. I had more confusion when I listened to other women, and some of these women are so close, gossiping about other women, and most probably about me after I leave the room. Because those women are successful, assertive, and have great dreams and big aspirations. Vulnerability was always a dilemma to me. Sharing failures, fears, worries with others, whether men or women, never served me right. Showing my weaknesses always was like an invitation to the other party to put me down and force me into a state of ugly submission. I got paid less, always. And when I was working in one of the rich Gulf countries, I was denied a family health insurance. Like other VPs, I was vice president in a big corporation. The CEO that day told me, "You are a woman, and taking care of the family financially is not your responsibility." Climbing the ladder was not easy. Whether I lean in or I lean out or in any direction, it was not easy. And even when I reached the highest level in the corporate world, I was VP, as I said. I thought that I would be able to change things, but I couldn't. When I asked for some changes in the benefit system, I was confronted by 5 angry, aggressive VPs and senior VPs. Think of this. When 50 Shades of Grey is the best-selling novel, how can I or you stand against sexual harassment or domestic violence? How can I fight for equality when my own parents did not believe in it? After 42 years living in 3 countries and marrying a great man, thank God, I ended good. And having 2 wonderful young gentlemen at home, I learned that we don't need to fight for gender equality or womanhood or female power. We need to fight for onehood, selfhood. I'm a human. I'm a complete person. Regardless, man, woman, doesn't matter. I'm a human. I'm a complete person. I deserve a complete wage, a complete list of benefits that you give to anyone else. I deserve a promotion. I deserve a place in the table. I submit only to my Creator, not to any of His creations. I don't have to shy away from sexuality or femininity. There is no shame in expressing my desire or needs. There is no shame to serve my husband and my family. They serve me as well. There is no shame to work on a career. Whether you are a single mother or a single father, raising kids without a partner is hard. But it is not enough to be considered a career breaker. We shouldn't tell women that staying home to raise your kids is bad. In fact, we all should carry those gaps in our careers as a badge of honor, not to hide it in our resumes, with a list of community and volunteer activities to show that we were busy doing other stuff. I was busy raising kids. We have to list those gaps with pride in our resumes. I remember when I stayed home caring for my kids, how it was so difficult for me to rejoin the job market. We shouldn't roast a man because he decided to stay home to care for his family. We shouldn't blame a woman who refuses to stay after hours because she has to go home and cook dinner. Or a man who cut a meeting short to take his son to the doctor. It happened for my husband. The only solution to many of our problems is to stop shaming each other for whatever choice we made in life. Thank you.